Let's talk about Efes, the Turkish brewery business that owns 50% of CCI. Monish has it in his portfolio, and I have around 10% of my portfolio in Efes as well. I am incredibly bullish. I believe it is one of the best risk and reward stocks out there that you can find to invest. The current market cap of the company is lingering around $4 billion, which is up significantly since the last time I covered Efes on March this year, where it was trading around $2.8 billion. Full disclosure, I am still buying the company, so that run-up of around 40% did not stop me. I am not looking for 40-50% gains to exit out of my positions and find a new stock to get similar returns. What I am looking for are the compounders that I can buy, sit back, and watch them become multi-baggers for me over time. If you want to own a stock that is going to be compounding for you over time, you need to make sure that they are going to be around for a long time as well. You need to invest in things that you know are going to be around for a long time. Buffett once said, "I don't think the internet is going to change how people chew gum." So while I like ASML, for example, I don't know almost anything about semiconductors. So it is in the too hard pile for me, where I cannot invest. So the goal is to find things that I know are going to be around for decades. Given the fact that humans are around 60% made of water, and the fact that we need liquids to stay alive, I would assume that people are going to be consuming water and various other liquids in the coming decades as well. So I know that people are going to be consuming liquids, but I also need to know exactly which of those liquids I can bet on. Here comes the fun part. I believe Coca-Cola's moat is one of, if not the strongest moat on the planet. However, the Coca-Cola company is already too big for me, and they are already in every corner of the world other than North Korea and Cuba. So, in my opinion, it is a much better strategy to look at the bottlers rather than the Coca-Cola company itself. When it comes to bottlers, I believe CCI is the one that has two qualities that make it the best investment among the bottlers. First is the valuation, where the PE of the company is a little over 10, and the second is the future growth expectations, given their operational geography. I am not also going to be digging deeper into CCI here, but one other aspect could be the high levels of execution as well. However, my investment is not in CCI. It is in Efes, because I believe their brewery business is just a gift that comes along with CCI. Efes is the market leader of every country that they have their brewery operations other than Ukraine, where there is no data. So Efes is the owner of 50.26% of CCI. They are releasing their earnings with CCI consolidated, but they are also giving the beer group's numbers separately as well. Since Efes is a Turkish company, they are releasing their earnings in Turkish lira. But currently, Turkish companies have to use an accounting standard that is called TAS 29, also known as inflation accounting. Now, I will not go into the details of inflation accounting. I don't like it, and I don't think it was necessary, but who am I to judge? Thankfully, both Efes and CCI are also releasing non-inflation accounting numbers that are unaudited. So I personally ignore the whole inflation accounting intricacies and look at the numbers that are calculated the way we are used to. What I do to overcome the effects of inflation is I simply take each quarter's numbers and translate them to dollars with the exchange rates at the end of each quarter. I believe this method works much better, and I have been doing it for a long time now. So the numbers you'll hear are not going to be the GAAP numbers. They are going to be the numbers that I personally use. So take it with a grain of salt, but I believe this method is the best. So with that said, Efes is actually a cyclical business, but there's certain cyclicality throughout the years. Efes makes more in the third quarters than it makes in the 3 other quarters combined. The reason for that is very simple. Both sides of Efes, the brewery and the soft drinks, are selling much higher volumes when the weather is the hottest. So maybe Efes is a beneficiary of the global warming. I don't know. Now, looking at their earnings, in the last 12 months, they have made $330 million, but again, keep in mind that I, Lunch Investing, myself come up with these numbers by dividing the non-inflation accounting numbers to the quarter end's exchange rate. So these are not GAAP numbers that you will see on Yahoo Finance, for example, so you need to look at the company's reports for these numbers. Out of the $320 million in profits, $176 million were coming from the brewery business. So the split between brewery and the CCI is 55 brewery, 45 CCI. However, not all earnings are created equal. The future prospects of CCI looks much better than the brewery, so I believe that side of Efes deserve a higher multiple. Going back to investing in liquids part. As I said earlier, Efes is the market leader in all of the countries that they are operating in other than Ukraine, where there is no available data that is recent. And CCI, regardless to say, is a Coca-Cola bottler, so they are naturally the market leader. Not only that, CCI is the world's third biggest Coke bottler in terms of population served, and Efes is Europe's 5th and world's 10th largest brewer as well. Also, These companies are run very prudently. The balance sheet of Efes is incredibly good. The brewery side is in a net cash position. And looking at the balance sheet, the current assets exceed the current liabilities, and the equity is at 185 billion liras, while the market cap is hovering around 130-140 billion liras. The biggest growth story of Efes is 100% their ownership in CCI. CCI is the main reason I own Efes, which is a similar situation like the Prosus and Tencent structure. However, in Efes's case, the brewery side of the business is another global giant with decades of history and a strong business model. In my mind, Efes and CCI situation is like as if Google owns half of Meta. Both are in similar businesses and both are incredibly strong amongst themselves. However, Efes has one big problem that is scaring away investors. Around 2/3 of the brewery business is in Russia, and Russia is, well, Russia. While I have strong reasons of why I don't want to write off the Russian business, most investors naturally are scared off of Efes due to how closely tied Efes is in Russia. Efes's Russia business is actually a joint venture with AB InBev, the world's largest brewer, where both companies owned 50% of the joint venture. However, AB InBev was going to sell their shares in the joint venture to Efes due to the ongoing war. But that deal recently was not approved by Russian authorities with the way it was presented. It is still an ongoing process that I will be keeping an eye on. But the total value of the joint venture was founded at $1.1 to $1.3 billion by KPMG before. So it is very important for Efes. Combine that with their CCI stake, which at the current valuation of CCI is around $2.5 billion, and as a reminder, CCI is down almost 30% from its recent highs. You get around the entire valuation of Efes, which means a third of Efes's brewery is trading for free, assuming, of course, they own the whole joint venture and combining that with their CCI stake. So Efes is a business with incredible growth prospects due to CCI, and their own brewery business is also a very strong business with growing volumes as well. And while their valuation gone up a bit, they are no longer trading at mid to high single digit multiples. I believe they are still very cheap. And as I said earlier, I have 10% of my portfolio in Efes. If you want to know much more about Efes, you can check out my Patreon, where I released a 37-page deep dive on Efes and another 40-page deep dive on CCI, where I go much deeper into those businesses. Not only that, I also have reports regarding Reysash and TAV airports as well. If you subscribe now, you will gain access to all of them, as I have only one tier, so you can subscribe to my Patreon, support the channel, and get access to those deep dive analysis. That's it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a like and comment as well, to help me grow my channel, and other than that, I'll see you in the next one.